that product that is always going to fly off the shelf, maintain a great profit margin, of course, and bring you consistent customers. Well, I was trying to do the same exact thing. And you're looking at somebody that has not only been reselling over a decade, I have a decade of failure and success. Well, I thought that I could find the success in AirPods, but I was really wrong. Now, I'm recording this video just to actually give you guys insight because I know there's a lot of people that are looking to get into AirPod reps or clones, and I want to show you exactly what to look out for, where you should actually get yours, and I'm not plugging in my own wholesale company only. I want to actually talk about other places you can source that you may be able to find beneficial. So I first found out about pods from a guy that just happened to walk into a phone store of mine, and he had a wagon full of pods. And I remember him putting them on the counter and saying, "Do you want to buy these? These are real pods." And I actually believed him. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know why I believed him, but he was hitting us upside the head. He sold them, I believe, for like $40 to $50 per pop to me. And then I sold them for around $120 to $150 to real consumers. It was only until I actually got a fine for selling fake products that I realized they were fake. But that's not even the point. They were selling so well, I knew I could not sell them in stores because, of course, copyright infringement, but I wanted to sell them online. So I had one problem. I needed to find a way to actually source these, and that served to be quite difficult because when I went online, there were a bunch of places on AliExpress and Alibaba that were saying they were selling them, but they wouldn't actually provide me pictures. And I know why now, because providing those pictures for those fake replicas is actually against the law, especially when it comes to in the United States, right? So I started sourcing and buying from different suppliers, and I started to realize that I really had to find the perfect one for me to be able to sell on eBay, sell on OfferUp, Facebook, and also Mercari. So what I started to do is I brought a bunch from different places and I compared them. And if you guys look back on my videos, you can see a bunch of videos of me comparing different reps. But I want to actually just narrow it down and save you time and let you guys know what I found is good quality, bad quality, what I found that suppliers actually are doing to finesse the system to keep you guessing and also keep you paying without really giving you quality. So the first thing that I had to learn was that they lie. And I know like that is very black and white, but they lie. So I've had suppliers tell me literally that these are the Gen 2 reps and they have noise cancellation. They have everything when it comes to the charging case and etc. The problem is a lot of us don't really look into what they're saying. We just believe them because we thinking they want to keep us as customers. Well, not every supplier. I had a supplier that told me that he was giving me noise cancellation pods, and it wasn't noise cancellation. Not just that, they also didn't have the charger, so they didn't charge in the case. Like the case obviously charged the pods, but it wasn't wireless charging. And these are all things he promised me. Now, I know I could honestly just return them and it wouldn't be a problem. But the problem is that it took over 4 to 8 weeks for me to get them. And if I was going to do a refund, I would have to hope it would get through customs. So one, they lie and you have to inspect what you expect. Two, if you want to return them, you have to hope that you can get these pods back over the customs. Now, when you are ordering through AliExpress or Alibaba or any of those platforms, you'll get the packaging and you'll realize that they're in a different type of box, right? It's like a generic wireless headphone box, and this is so it can get through customs. But what I realized too is it's not always a guarantee. So the next thing that I had to actually realize, which is number 2, is that the product won't always get to you. And see, this is something that, again, you want to think about when you're getting and sourcing pods. How are you going to send these? Do you have a US warehouse? These are questions that you want to ask them because, see, me, I didn't even know that it was a possibility for me to have a Chinese distributor actually ship the pods that they are going to give me from the US. And actually, it is. You can find a distributor out there that will ship pods from you from the United States of America. Will they be good quality? I beg to differ, and we'll talk about that in a second. But when it comes to me being able to source, and this was about 8 years ago, I wanted to get it as fast as possible, and I used US warehouses to do it. Now, that being said, I had to pay an inflated price. So what ended up happening was I ended up going with a supplier that had a warehouse, they said, in the United States of America, but they were charging me like $22, $25 a pop for the pods. And I'm like, okay. I then got the pods in the mail, and I remember it like yesterday. I immediately listed them. I took them out the packaging. Everything was pretty good. So I went to go and try to list, sold some, and then I got hit with a dreaded message. And the message was, hey, these headphones keep cutting off. Hey, the headphones, they won't allow people to hear me when I'm talking on the phone. And this started to create a really big concern in my head, because I'm like, well, now I'm about to have people that have put these headphones in their ears, use these headphones probably in the gym or wherever, and now they're going to return them, and I can't resell them. So I hit up my supplier and I'm like, hey, the headphones aren't working for people. Well, guess what? All sales are final. All sales are final. So then I started to realize, okay, my third problem was making sure that people are going to take returns if the pods are not working. And then the fourth thing is, wait, do the pods actually function the way they should? So let's break down how your pods should actually function. You should have all speaker components be actually speaker components. Now, I know that sounds elementary, right? Of course, Brandon, the speakers are going to be No. What I've learned is sometimes that they literally have the little mesh and everything that looks like the speakers, but they're not speakers. It gets really in depth when it comes to the technology, but I do know that when you actually are faking a speaker, it hurts the quality. Sometimes it's going to be a malfunction when it comes to the consumer trying to talk on a phone or the consumer just trying to be heard. This was a big one. Number two, making sure that the pods are actually going to be noise cancellation is a really big thing, because a lot of people buy pods for the noise cancellation. When they stick them in their ears, they don't want to hear everything around them. And then number three is going to be just them connecting the way that the real pods do. So when you flip up the pods, they should be connecting the same exact way. They should bring up the same image that the regular AirPods bring up when people are getting the Apple ones. These are things that I did not actually look at. I didn't inspect. And customers, when they got it in the mail, they were expecting the same type of experience that they would get with the Apple ones. And guess what? I just didn't do it. So again, we're speaking on reps, and I no longer sell them for these exact reasons. There's so many different companies out there overseas that are selling them, but there also are a bunch of shortcuts, and we're going to talk about number 5, and this is going to be one that people overlook. It's the box. The shortcuts people take are either they put a serial number on the box that is the same for every single pair you sell, which can become a problem, because if I have a customer that buys 3 from me and they have all the same serial number, the customer then complains and says, oh, I know you said the serial number works, but all of these have the same serial number. Duh. That's usually how it works when you have a uniform serial number that's going to work for reps. I'm just letting you guys know. There's usually always a master serial number that is used. They don't really switch up the serial numbers because most suppliers are too lazy. They operate on a speed over quality process. They want to push out as many pods as possible instead of worrying about each one having the most impeccable quality and it looking really real. No, their most important, I'd say, process or hierarchy when it comes to them building these pods is going to always be to make sure they're pushing out as many as possible to make as much money as possible. And that is something I had to learn the hard way. Another thing with the box is making sure that it always has the most updated AirPod logo. So the little picture on the front of the box, you want to make sure that it is up to date. it matches with the new one. The Gen 2s had actually 2 picture updates. So I would know if the supplier is sending me an old pair based upon if the graphic was different. So I'll give you an example. One of the boxes, it would have 2 pods right next to each other, and then another one of the boxes would have the pods like sort of kind of diagonal. And that was a difference. Now, the conflict that I would have with that is if a customer brought 2 from me and the graphic was different on each, then the customer starts asking me more questions. I look like I'm scamming or like I don't know about the product I'm selling. And in return, I lose that brand recognition, the credit, and also, of course, most likely we'll get a chargeback. And again, it may not actually seem this deep, but a lot of times you're going to get charged back with reps because of quality. And yes, you may think that it feels heavy, it looks good, and it looks just like Apple. But if it doesn't perform like Apple, you're going to have an issue. And that brings me to our 6th and last point. If they don't work the way the customer expects them to work, you're going to get chargebacks. I can't even tell you how many people I know have had mad chargeback with reps, and that is one reason I no longer sell them. Now, I do sell clones, which are similar to reps, but they have better quality, and also they're not acting as if they are Apple. Instead, they are wireless in-the-ear headphones, and these sell pretty well. Now, these are going to be boxes that don't have any Apple logo at all. They are just like the reps in the box, but they have and perform just like the regular AirPods, and they give the customer a proper expectation. See, when you sell replicas and they don't act as if what customers expect them to, customers tend to complain. But a lot of the times they don't complain to you first. See, what happens is all of my people out there selling these like they're real pods, people will go get them and they'll think that you're giving them a bang for their buck. That won't work the way they want it to, and then they'll go and proceed to Apple. And when they proceed to Apple, they'll go walk up to Apple, schedule an appointment, they'll have a tech help them with the pods. The tech will help them with the pods, and then the tech will tell them these aren't real. And then the customer is now embarrassed, and now the customer definitely wants their refund. They're going to give you a bad review, and then it hurts your account and gets you banned. That is honestly the order of operations for a lot of these customers that you guys are spewing this false information to. That's why I don't even try to sell or try to finesse the system. I'd rather just sell clones, let them know these are in-the-ear wireless headphones, these are not AirPods, and still get the money. Now, yes, you can sell reps for hire, but it also comes with more danger. So again, number 6, making sure that the customer knows what they're getting with the quality of pods that you are selling. And honestly, you should know the same. So what I would recommend is if you're getting these pods, you're just trying to sell them, and you're trying to sell these reps like they're real, make sure you know exactly if they work. Go and test them at the gym. Test them for a day. Test them to make sure that they're actually delivering the quality that you want the customer to experience. Because if they're not, you're always going to lose money on the back end. Guys, if you don't know, you can go to wesply.com, get the clones. They're way better than the reps, but I did want to film this video to share the different lessons I've learned that a lot of people don't even talk about because they're too focused online trying to tell you to buy them from their vendors and yay, get my vendor list. No, if anything, I would definitely say and recommend getting your pods from places like Alibaba. Make sure you're talking to suppliers and talk to them and try to get them to agree with you. Yes, I need returns if possible. I also need to know if you have a U.S. warehouse. I also need to know and make sure that the Apple logos look good. I need to make sure that the pods are high quality. Can you send me a sample? Now, I have had no luck when it comes to Alibaba. That's why I use a supplier that I got from a Sprint owner that I knew back in the day. And if you don't know about my story, definitely check out my videos. I have a bunch of stories on how I even got started reselling. But when it comes to Alibaba, there are people that see success. It's very, very hard to develop a relationship with a supplier that you really don't know and don't have any type of relationship with. But if you're trying to sell reps, I would stay away from DHgate. I would stay away from those places that people are just getting paid to push out to you, because there's a lot of conflict when it comes to the quality, when it comes to the shipping, when it comes to all around profits, okay? And you just got to make sure that you inspect what you expect. All right, guys, definitely make sure you guys hit that like button. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.